Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way.
At 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the US PPI month-over-month forecast 0 spots 2%, previous 0 spot 4%. US PPI year.
Good morning, everybody. It is November the 13th.
0 spot 4%.
Friday, end of the week, kind of an interesting week because, you know, big move up on Monday and then just consolidation the rest of the week. But we have had a little bit of movement overnight, so let's go look at that.
Previous
volume profile.
We also have Fed Bullard speaking.
E-mini, so here again, we're like still within the range, a little bit of a rise overnight though. Yesterday that dip was kind of ugly when you were in it. But here's the thing that I would point out about that. It wasn't actually that big of a move, and it's going to seem bigger than it actually was if you were in it, because it's going to be really frustrating when it breaks out the wrong way, the other side. You know what I mean? But you can see how it just comes back up into the range like a false breakout. So no big deal. Treasuries consolidating here now, finally. Really big move up yesterday, and I was really unsure about why it was happening. Also, look at the profile, extremely disorganized. But this may just be because rising coronavirus cases. I mean, the number of coronavirus cases that we're getting are really quite insane, and a lot of state governments are gearing up to shut down. So maybe the treasuries are just trying to be ahead of the curve on this. Oil coming down as well because of similar reasons, and gold looking like they're gonna try and recover some of those nasty losses. But copper is up. Now that's interesting. There must be a different something to do with supply again in copper. But I am not in the know apparently. Once again. All right. Wow. Let's go in and turn on Texas each. Win says Friday the 13th in the year 2020, and given how this year has gone, we really don't need a Friday the 13th. No. Listen, Win. I'm gonna give you some real edge here. Wait, I need to come over here. Real edge. Being superstitious is bad luck. Don't do it. It's bad luck. Being superstitious is bad luck. I've seen some interesting things happen on Friday the 13th, and it seems like certain algorithms actually care about the day. But we've made money on these days, so shouldn't be too focused on that. What we should be focused on is that we're going to get core PPI. Now, because we had the CPI out first, this number might not matter as much. What else? Oh, we also get Michigan numbers, Michigan current conditions, inflation expectations, etc. Those might be more important because that's like a forward-looking number. Copper rose above $3 a pound for the first time in more than 2 years on Wednesday, extending a recent rally driven by steady Chinese demand and disruptions to global supply. Yeah. So I don't know what's the move for that particular one. Oh, we were above $3 a long time ago. Oh, a pound.
US core PPI.
No.
Forecast 0 spots 2%.
So we're at 3.1, and we've been above 3 for
PPI year over year.
Almost the whole month.
4%. Previous 0 spot 4%. US core.
Remember, I am irrational, and a Gemini Sun prices are closely tied to activity in China, which accounts for roughly half of global copper consumption. Yes. So that's where I'm wondering why copper is behaving differently from gold in particular. Well, sorry, from oil. Why is copper gold behaving differently from oil? It must be oil. I mean, China consumes oil too, right? But So I think that because of that, it's more likely to do with the global supply issues, and the global supply issues having to do with, like, there's been some strikes and so forth in South America. So I don't have any specific news, but that's what I think is going on there. Let's check Discord here. We get a couple of things. Dovish Central Bank comments. Yes. Do we have more auctions today, by the way? Because we had so many yesterday. No, we don't. Well, it's going to be interesting because it's the end of the week. Breaking. Oh, we're back. We're back. It's okay. Kind of lost the connection there for a moment, but we're okay now. Buffering. Yeah, we're it's okay. We're good. We're good. Okay, now remind me after the news at 8:31 Eastern time, 6:31 my time. Turn on the algorithms. Because I got a couple of algorithm changes I want to see. I want to see how they do. Obama warns Trump's election fraud claims put U.S. democracy on dangerous path. Well, not really, actually. I mean, here's the thing, is that you go and you do all of your challenges, and if the law, everything goes the way that it should, then the law will decide the result, probably won't change anything, and it'll all be fine. And then we can go in and we can say things like, here are some ways in which we could improve the security of the election. And then we could propose some laws and pass them and make the election more secure for next time. So it doesn't put democracy on a dangerous path. It actually puts democracy on a better path, I think. GOP senators say war nomination would divide what? No, it wouldn't divide Republicans. It would be like an automatic no. Who is in favor of her? Okay, let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the Hill says. Senate Republicans are warning that President-elect Joe Biden would spark a fight if he were to nominate Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, or former National Security Susan Rice. Really, what's wrong with Susan Rice? Republicans will control at least 50 states in the Senate. The GOP is hoping to add to its majority by winning 2 runoff races scheduled for January. If Democrats can win both seats, they'd have a majority. But if Democrats lose just one of those races, they'll need GOP support to confirm Biden's nominees. Republicans are already seeking leverage by saying Biden would be better off picking centrists, such as Chris Coons or Doug Collins, for his cabinet rather than progressive stars Warren and Sanders. Lawmakers declined to speak publicly about their expected opposition, who are both colleagues, but privately they're warning that tapping a senator with outspoken liberal views to head the Treasury Department would spark a fight. But where is it that it would divide Republicans? That was like did you read that? That was like a whole bunch of text for nothing. We would have learned nothing that we didn't learn from the title.
10 seconds.
All right, well, let's focus here. We get some news.
Zero spot 3%, 0 spot 3%. That's higher than the forecast of 0 spot 2%. US core PPI month over month, 0 spot 1%, 0 spot 1%. That's lower than the forecast of 0 spot 2%. US PPI year over year.
Okay, so the number is coming in
0 spot 4%. US core PPI year
it's a little mixed.
1 spot 1%. That's lower than the forecast of 1.
So the core PPI is lower than expected. The regular PPI is higher than expected. The longer run, some of the longer run expectations are kind of in a similar vein. Market's not really reacting too much to it. They're kind of
0 spot 5%, 0 spot 5%,
seeming like they're going to tick up, but not really going.
And for those of you who would like to watch Feds Bullard's speech, we have posted the Zoom webinar link on the Financial Juice newsfeed for you guys to click onto. You do have to register, and there should be a webinar
How
link.
come I am not? Huh.
Feds Billard says
I think there's something wrong with my chat window here. There we go. We're good. Okay. I was like, I saw all these comments from Win, and I'm like, why didn't they show up over here?
Feds Billard says household level virus.
Situations where you need your enemies vastly more than you need your friends. CNN. Nicholas gets it. I tell you what, that guy is super smart. I've never seen him say something outright stupid, unlike so many so-called experts, including myself.
Billard says there is room for a substantial decline of unemployment rates to 4.9% in the months ahead.
Alert says downside risks remain substantial. Him speaking, that's... Household level virus spread may require a new education initiative to change behavior. Because you can't let it travel to the other people in your house. Okay, so it has been over a minute when you turn the algorithms on. See, you guys didn't remind me. Oh, how come it has RSI strat? You won't let me enable that one. Account display.
And for those of you who would like to read the US PPI report, you can do so by clicking the link that we have just provided for you on the Financial Juice newsfeed.
It gave me like this huge look at this. Retry. No, I want to debug it. That one is weird. Also, why is that one abort? Oh, look, it turned on. What the hell? That's super weird. That shouldn't even be the name of the strat. I'm looking at it now and I'm like, well, that's okay. We can kill a Ninja Trader and we're fine. It's super nice to just run it through Rhythmic, man. Good morning, Lobo Trader. How are you? I think we're doing okay. It kind of looks like the Treasury does want to continue moving up, but I tell you what, we can like do one of these things. The E-mini had a bit of an iceberg there. All is well in my new normal.
Lobo Trader says likewise laughing face.
Let's turn that on. Bullard, there's room for a substantial decline of the unemployment rate to 4.9% in the months
For those
ahead.
of you who would like to read Fed's
Oh, look, we hit into it.
Vlad
release, you can
Stolyarov
do so
says,
by
"Happy
clicking the
Friday,
link that we have
13."
just provided for you on the
There you
Financial
go.
News newsfeed.
Vlad Stolyarov says, "I already had nightmares about Dom going against me." Winston's mom says, "Speaking of new normal, speculator Seth, my refinance and my mortgage rate came in at 2.5%. I was
Ooh.
tickled pink."
Ooh, very nice. I forgot about that. Ignore the VMA exit.
Vlad Stolyarov says yes.
Okay.
Vlad Stolyarov says, "Can it be 1%?
Better. I don't know what that was about. I have to go back and test the RSI one. Must have. Whoa, we're going. We're going. Wow. I look away for like 1 second and we're like 4 ticks higher. What the? Downside risks remain substantial.
And Feds Bullard has just started speaking on the webinar. Remember, we have posted the link to that webinar on the Financial News newsfeed if you guys would like to join.
That Trump should appoint himself as a Westminster-style opposition leader who shadows Biden's every move and counter programs to show peace. Events like the statement of the... No. Please, no. I don't think that would be effective. I think the most effective thing Donald Trump could do is finish his
Vlad
the
Stolyarov
voting
says, "Bots bought all
challenges.
PS5s from Walmart."
Get all of the challenges out until the electors meet in December, and then start a news network. That's what I think he should do. Look at that. I was thinking, well, maybe I should take it off there, but it's an okay tick up also there. That's Well, we're not quite to overnight highs, are we? And in fact, there's plenty of room to move to.
Winston's mom says, "What do you think about Trump tweeting out against Fox News and trying to convince their viewers to move to the other two channels?"
I think Fox is finished.
Feds Bullard says that the business sector adjustment to the
So the one that is, I think, particularly, well, there's two. One is that they took Janine Pirro off. So you know that they're all interested in the legal analysis of it, and she's going to come in and she's going to say in her legal analysis she thinks that they have a good case on some of these, and they wouldn't even let her on the air. So that was the first one, and of course them calling Arizona early, but I guess Arizona has finally been called for Joe Biden last night, so I don't know if that one really matters. But then the other one was like McKinney was on television and she was going through her, 300 pages or whatever. And Fox was like, "Oh, we can't listen to this anymore." And they cut it off. That is not your job as the news. Your job is to report the news. And if they're just going to selectively show you what they want to, they're useless as a news source then, because they're only telling you what
fiscal policies
they want you to hear.
effective and were designed for a larger
Ergo,
than the one that has occurred.
Fox News no longer has a place in
Winston's mom
no
says
longer
Janine
has an
Pirro
audience.
has several Saturday night shows where she might have started the hour with a happy hour.
Yeah. So I think that Fox is screwing themselves over. They're like becoming like a CNN. Nobody's gonna watch that because the people that like that kind of a news, they don't trust Fox. And the people that liked Fox's programming before, they're all leaving. And I mean, it's like they're leaving in droves. I'm watching it, and they're saying for Tucker and all those other guys. I kind of wonder what their contracts are, because Tucker's going to have to try and get out of it, probably.
Bank of England's Deputy Governor Sir Cunliffe says that it is not the Bank of England's role to protect bank business
But
models in the face of digital currency.
Yeah, they're all moving to Newsmax.
He did do a speech at the ECB forum yesterday and said it's not.
I think you're seeing the end of Fox News.
First, it's about.
I seriously do. I don't know. I could have taken it off at 08.5, and I was like, no, it's going okay at 09, but they didn't really take it yet. But I don't know. The way that moved, I'm wondering now, they're going to keep up with what they were doing yesterday? Like, this is the strength. You know, I was looking at my trades yesterday.
Tom
in the
Barnard says
Treasury.
Behringer or Sunny headsets.
No, these are Pioneer. These are HDJ 2000s. The original. They have much better ones now. I bought it. It was like what? Oh, it was too much, man. It was an amount of money now that I'm like, oh yeah. There's lots of things I could do with that. And I've had them for now 10 years. They've lasted me that long, like a daily driver for 10 years. The ear cups are completely, like there's like a leather coating normally on it. It's completely gone on the ear cups. And I've had to replace the cable. I probably need to replace the cable again. I don't know. What was I saying? Oh, I was looking at my treasury trades from yesterday, and
Tom Barnard
they
says
were
they
actually
look
really
solid,
good.
though.
I was positioned. I was going the wrong direction overall because I didn't know what was going to be the driver for moving us up. But the positions and the way that I took them and everything was really great. I should have just babysat
Vlad
it and
Stolyarov says DJ
scratched it, though.
Speculator.
Right. Oh, you think they look nice? I think that they work really well for trading. I explained this in my hardware, computer hardware video, but a DJ headphone really blocks out outside sound, and so I like them for that reason. That said, you know, I'm sure at some point they're gonna stop working. Now, the funny thing is the way that I got them was when I worked for Goldman Sachs. You know, I was hired to work in Salt Lake, but because I was hired directly out of school, you go for like a 6-week training in New York. So I lived in New York for 6 weeks out of a hotel by the Empire State Building, and they would give you a per diem to eat with. And the per diem was a lot. It was like, oh man, it was like $25 per meal or something like that. Like it was a significant amount of money for each meal. And I was like, well, screw that. I'm just going to go to Subway and eat a $5 footlong. And they gave it to you in cash.
Winston's mom says, where did you stay in Manhattan?
It was called the Affinia Hotel.
Tom Barnard
I
says
believe.
AHAHAHAHAHA.
Yeah. So anyways, I would just save up the per diems from it, and then I bought the headphones with it. And that's where they came from. So that's also kind of a thing. That was the other thing I got from them was I was always like, well, should it be like this? And no, they're like, you know, you can do whatever you want with it. So the other one was this calculator. It's just a calculator from Staples. You can see the logo of Staples on it. But when I worked there, I was always finding myself trying to calculate things, particularly for like measured moves. So I had that calculator on my desk, And when everybody knew that I had gotten it from the storage closet. I was like, oh, there was a calculator there, so I took it.
Tom Barnard says they wanted you to buy healthy food.
I guess we eat at Chipotle a lot. Or if we were on the other side, if we were in Jersey, there was a place that you could go in the building that was like a make your own pasta sort of a thing. That was great. But it was not equal to what I think they were giving it to you to expect you to go and eat nice stuff for dinner. But I digress. So when I left there, because I was let go. I mean, they downsized that place so much, and I'm wondering what's going to happen now, because up until now, apparently the banks have been kind of immune from the layoffs and stuff, but it's sounding like they're going to start pulling back. I don't know if they'll pull back on the technology, especially not here in Salt Lake, because a lot of that is the new unit, the unit that's so important, the consumer banking unit. So, but yeah. It happens a lot. Man, they do. I tell you what, they do layoffs a lot. The other places that I worked, they would never. They do everything they can to avoid that sort of a thing. I guess where I'm working right now, because it's in the healthcare sector, it's not really a big problem over there. Anyways, so, they just tell you, okay, you're being like, oh, and then they pack your stuff. And my boss packed that calculator, even though he knew I got it from the storage closet, and they should have kept it. So that calculator was my parting gift. The headphones, the calculator. Oh yes, and I also got a. Oh yes, there was. Oh, where I don't know where that went. I need to go find that. I had a Series 7 study guide.
Sax vestige.
So there was this one person that they worked there, and they wanted to get their Series 7 for whatever reason. And they had purchased the materials, I guess, and from STC, which is not cheap. That's like, a few $1,000, I believe. And they had it sitting under their desk. So when I moved, or they moved their desks there all the effing time. It's literally like every other month they move you. And I remember one time they moved me, and I was literally right next to the bathroom, which was actually the best thing ever, because they pack you like sardines in there. And so
Vlad
it's
Stolyarov
like,
says I was buying the dip yesterday. W Real account made almost nothing and could have bought it. W Real account, but did demo after hours 35.20s, so I trade better on demo. BC Confidence Unlimited.
Okay.
Pierre Klotz says hi.
Hey Pierre, how are you? You made me lose my train of thought. No, you're okay. On that, the way that they pack you in Goldman Sachs, it's like you get this much room for you, and then the next person is literally like right next to that, and there's no cubicles. It's all open floor plan. So they're literally packing like 500 people onto a floor that has 3 bathrooms. Right? So you have to wait to use the bathroom no matter what. So when they put me next to the bathroom, that was super great. And then they moved me, and it was awful. I hated that other spot. But I digress. So when they moved me to that spot, I was, setting everything up, and underneath of the desk where people wouldn't look very often, where the computer was,
Eastern Time,
was this STC study guide. And it had the person's name on it. So like I contacted them and asked them, you want this? We'll mail it to you. And they're like, no, it's okay. You can keep it. So I kept it. So I have this Series 7 study guide. I don't know if it's relevant anymore. It was 10 years ago. Well, it wasn't 10 years ago, but it was like 6 to 8 years ago. And yeah, but I don't know where it is now. I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, it must be in one of those crates outside. Why did you leave? No, they let us go. So the kind of the thing that happened there was that when they hired me on, it was kind of like a big initiative to get more technology stuff into Salt Lake, and in particular in the equities technology space. And so they had created like 3 groups over there. There was a QA unit, there was a I wonder why that closed its position. There was now I'm all forgetting what I was listing off. No, they had different units. So there was a QA unit. There was a support for the like mission control people, which was kind of like DevOps site reliability engineering stuff before there was site reliability engineering. And there was a development unit. And kind of what happened was over time, they moved units. Like they had the QA unit, but I think the issue they had with the QA unit was that the QA unit would always have to talk to the developers and tell them what was wrong, and that was, I guess, a problem being remote. So they got rid of that one. The mission control one actually worked really, really well, because then you had people that were there, 2 hours later than normal. Yeah, so that one always worked really, really well. And then there was the development. And the development was actually really successful too. But the issue with the development, so here's the issue with especially Exchange connectivity, is that Exchange connectivity is a pretty difficult job, requires serious, experienced C++ programmers, and is actually fairly mundane. It's like you're being given a Exchange spec and you're adjusting the handler to be able to talk to that Exchange, right? And so it was so hard to keep people. It was so hard to keep people for that job. So kind of what ended up happening was they said, well, we're going to have to move that back to New York, because anybody that was sophisticated enough to do it was getting better job offers in Salt Lake. And when that happened, there wasn't a whole lot left. So I think that what happened was they pretty much gutted the whole department. And I mean, they really gutted it. Like, I got let go, and then I remember quite a bit later, a significant number of people that I knew also got let go. I think there's some people that are still there. I think there's like a core group of like 5 people that I knew that are still there. And those people got taken out of equities technology and went over to the new unit where they're developing the consumer banking software. So that's why I left. But, I wouldn't say that I always felt like, it's so absolutely the opposite of everywhere else, the whole rest of my life. I'm always sitting here like, man, what is all these people doing? Like, they have no clue what's going on. But when it was at Goldman, everybody was always on their toes. And I kind of felt like people were out to get you a lot, And I'm not particularly the most like thorough person, right? So I think that in the long run it was a better thing for me. And they gave you like a really good exit package. It was like 6 months of salary, and I got another job. Like I waited because there was a job program that I was supposed to do at the beginning of the next month, so I kind of took like 3 weeks off. And just spent all that time with my girlfriend, actually, with my now wife. And then I went through that program, was like a resume building program, which was one of the best things I ever did, by the way. And then I got the job that I have now, like within a week. And it's, it's much better because it's less stressful. Sometimes I feel like my current job isn't stressful enough. I'm trying to take on additional things to make it more stressful, because sometimes I feel like this is just a little bit too relaxing. But it all worked out. And then I was able to trade, because the big thing was that I wanted to work there because I was interested in trading. And kind of the thing that I found, though, was that when I got in there and I was in technology, and especially after the JP Morgan well thing happened, like, here's the thing. I was working on the risk control systems. Like, there were systems that we built because of the JP Morgan whale. If you're familiar with that, you're programming. Yeah, I'm a software engineer. So we were writing stuff in like KDB Plus to manage risk, and those were the things where, like, if a trader went rogue, that's the thing that would be stopping them. And like, I think that the traders kind of knew that systems like that existed, but they basically made it so that they knew as little about how this system worked as possible. And then I'm working on that system. There's me and this other guy, are the only ones that really know anything about it. Do after the London well, do they really want that person trading? You know what I mean? So I kind of started to turn into like, you know what? You're probably not going to get to do what you want to do in your current position. They're never going to switch you over, especially when you live in Salt Lake. So in the end, it was something that had to happen. And I was determined to stay there as long as possible, which was exactly the wrong thing that should have been done. I should have left earlier. Although, well, I don't know. If I had started the trading like 2 years earlier, it might have been better. You are set for life. We'll see. You know what I find really interesting as I was reading the this cumulative delta one, it's still got issues. So I don't know why that's closing, but it shouldn't be taking such a tiny winner. I'm just gonna turn that one off, and I need to rework that. It always backtests really well, but that must be why. It's just shouldn't be trading. With your futuristic job, I don't think it's a futuristic job, but the thing that I find interesting is what we're doing is site reliability engineering. And I was reading like the Stack Overflow survey the other day, and the site reliability engineering was like one of the most best rewarded jobs. It was like, it's kind of interesting because I don't feel like that what we do is all that.
We will shortly be receiving
terribly special.
10 Ray.
I think of like some really sophisticated things that people can do. Like when I go like reading data science articles and some of the algorithms that people are thinking up of on that end that I haven't gotten into, and maybe it's not as complicated as it seems, but to me, not having done it yet, it seems awfully complicated, But the reason it's prized is because you have to have a lot of the systems knowledge too.
Listen to
like how to use Linux and how to deal with network and services and stuff like that. That's why it's hard. But so I'm doing, somehow I got roped into site reliability engineering, and it happens to be a pretty good deal. And you're right, when you've worked somewhere, and I worked there for a long time. And I've worked where I've worked now for a long time, so on LinkedIn, I'm not bragging, but this is if you are like a 19-year-old kid and you're thinking about like what industry to go into, man, get a computer science degree and get into finance. Right? And you're right, you're set. I get people message me on LinkedIn like almost every day with jobs, and I'm just like, because at that point it kind of turns into, well, I could probably get any of these jobs. Not any of these jobs. I did this interview for this one job that was oh, who was it? Rakuten, I think it was. And they wanted, but they wanted somebody really senior, so I wasn't really a very good fit. And they were like building the algorithm to determine what ad to serve, and so they had to process a ton of data really, really quickly, and that was super sophisticated, and I was not up to par at that point. Are data scientists getting paid more than you? Well, it's really where you live as a significant factor. Okay, let me here's one of the things that I don't get. Let me go find that.
Fed's bill
There it is, right there.
Is likely only lasted through March and April.
Let's see if I can find it. Was it in here? Or maybe I was looking at somewhere. Oh, here it is. Well, that one is by programming language. There we go. So here is like salary by development type, right? So they're saying data engineers are making 65 and site reliability engineers are making 80. But like those are not the numbers that you go by in Utah. In Utah, any kind of a developer is going to start at 65. And these guys that are like, engineering managers are up in the 150. Probably more than that. Like because they're competing, like their salaries are pretty comparable to like what you get paid in Seattle. Like if you work for Microsoft or Google. So I don't know where they get these numbers from, but I guess a lot of places in the United States it's a lot lower than that. But you can see there, like what I'm doing, site reliability engineering apparently is one of the more sophisticated things. The one I think is really funny, if you come all the way back up here, I think it was. Where is it? Here we are. No, it wasn't like, it was like how much they were paying. Here it is right here. Okay. What languages are associated with the highest salaries worldwide? So Scala, that makes sense to me. I've used Scala, and the only place where I used Scala was in doing what is it, like Apache Spark stuff. Somebody brought up Apache Spark the other day. It was a highly distributed file system stuff. So Scala being up there at the top, it makes sense to me. But Perl to me is like that ancient technology that nobody really wants to actually mess with. Like, it's so funny to me that Perl is at the top. And then Rust and Go being up there, that makes sense too, just because they're the kind of like the new kids on the block. But then I get into like Bash, PowerShell. It's higher than C#. Okay. Probably because there's a lot of C# programmers out there. And I would think that R would be higher because R is a cool language and all, but it's not like any of the other languages, and there's some weird stuff in it. And it's kind of annoying to put up with. It's just so esoteric. Dart is down at the bottom. Oh, that's so sad. And JavaScript. I actually think JavaScript should be higher than, if you're getting into like the React kind of stuff, and you can deal with some complicated problems in JavaScript. And Python. So I was thinking about it, and I've been doing quite a bit of research because in Python, there are definitely disadvantages performance-wise to using Python. But I guess what can happen is all of the easy, simple stuff you're doing in Python, and then anything that is like computationally complicated, goes into a separate library that Python calls that can be written in C# or Rust. And I'm learning about Rust, and man, it seems like Rust is the way, man. What I'm reading, I mean, Golang is kind of intended to replace C++ as well, but I think that it is geared towards something a little bit different. I don't know how good it seems to me like that Golang is not super great at developing that kind of application, but Rust was really intended to be for an application of that type. So I turned that algorithm off and it still took a position. That's weird. I don't know which one took that. Let's see. Was it this guy? No. Was it Ace? It wasn't Ace, was it? No. But this one. Yeah, it did take a few. I guess it must have just been that thing, and it didn't close it out when I disabled it. Or it was in one when I disabled it. Anyways, and the thing about Rust is that Rust was basically all developed around memory access issues. So there's a lot of kind of trouble that you can get yourself into with, developing applications in C++. And so Rust has basically been redesigned to prevent you from being able to do those things. So, pretty good. So I'm thinking if I was going to make a backtesting framework, that you would want to build it in Rust and allow it to use Python scripting, is what I'm thinking. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, right? I don't know how I would do it, though. Like, I could have it connect directly into the Rhythmic API, but then you'd have multiple connections. So I think that I would really want to make it come off of RTrader Pro plugin mode. But how do you make an RTrader Pro plugin? You guys are talking about dogs now? Let's see if I can find it again. RTrader Pro plugin development. Because there's just not anything out there. I'm sure that they have stuff. It's just like they don't actually put it out. Clip it. No, I'm not finding anything. We're gonna have to write them an email on Monday because there's literally nothing in their online documentation. There's got to be a way to. There's got to be resources somewhere to do it, right? But then I'm wondering about, would they actually give it to you, right? But then we could build something and we could build our own stuff. But I have RAM coming next week. We're going to try that first, because the real reason why I'm sitting and complaining about this stuff is because I'm trying to do back tests and it's like it just chugs because of memory issues usually. So, what was I going to say? I don't know. I tried one. I made an indicator. Oh, wait, let me show you something. Let me show you something interesting I learned yesterday. Here, I'll open up a Ninja script editor window. I didn't realize that in the optimizers here that you could read the code for the whole genetic optimizer and strategy generator. And the strategy generator one is like 2,000 lines of code, right? It's not simple. I have no clue what it's doing here. There's certainly a lot of code that could probably be simplified if they wanted to use generics, but I think that it's appropriate to do it the way that they're doing it here. See, that's what I did yesterday. This is so dumb. So I went in and I made a strategy that will just go in and it will go long or short based on the candlestick pattern. And there's all of these different candlestick patterns. So what I did was I went and I made a variable for every candlestick pattern as to whether or not it should trade it. And then put in there. They had to do all this stuff with generics so that we get the name of the pattern into a string and then pull the property with that string name and then get the value of it to know whether or not you should trade it or not. So that's one of the ones that I've actually got. No, I don't have that one running yet. So then I went in and I did a genetic algorithm on it. And it came out with something that it made money, but it didn't have a very good profit factor. And it took like all night to run that. So, is there a program that allows you to grab a program and translate the code? No, I mean, the thing is like this code right here. There's no better or more concise way to explain what to do. There's no like translate it to layperson, whatever. Like the best way to understand it is to just read the code. And that's often the case. Of course, what should have comments and stuff somewhere. Maybe I should probably have comments in here, but other than that. But now I want to go and make my own optimizer, because one of the things that drives me crazy is I'll run the optimizer and then it selects ones where it only took like 2 trades. And I would like to make an optimizer that just filters that out. Like they have to take at least a trade every other day or something, or it ignores them. Steve, right? I agree with high profit factor. Yeah, exactly. So what I will often do is I would just go into the one that makes the most net profit.
Billard says households still have a lot of resources.
But then there's still a lot of filtering that you got to do off of that.
Some may need help.
Yeah, like as an example, we'll pull up a strategy analyzer here. I'm going to show you the ones that I was doing last night. So it was this candlestick strat right here. There we go. So you can see it it has them sorted by total net profit, but that's not necessarily the best one. There's actually this one right here actually has a Sharpe ratio of 1 and a higher profit factor too. So that's the one of the ones. That's the one that I decided to run. How do you get it to save that list at the bottom? Right click, properties, scroll down to the very bottom, window, show log. All right. When I learned about that, it's actually a relatively new feature, so not surprised that you might not be aware of it. What about these ones? All of these can go, yeah. Remove all non-pinned. But one of the things that's really cool is you can check them, right? So we can go through. So like I back tested a new version of Ace's strategy that was a little bit more profitable. You can see it's only a 1.09 profit factor, right? But I kept that one, and that one is running right now. And then this one right here, my candlestick strat, that one worked. That one was pretty good. Good win rate, at least. So that one. Now this one, this RSI strat one, I tried having that on and it crashed. I keep finding that RSI is really good. So anyways, and then it's really cool how you get these like optimize. Wonder what I can do with the optimization graph here. Oh, can I not? No, that's not enough. That's funny. None. Because it won't let me iterate over the candle. So the only real difference between all of these, I was strength. I did iterate over the strength. So the strength is like, it looks at like as number of bars back that you want it to look to confirm that there's enough trend for it. So if you go in and you're doing a candlestick strat, the higher that you put in that number, the longer it will take to back test, right?
Different rates and times. This is different from
so I guess I am
uniform recovery across sectors
on that. But the main difference between them is, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to make it like really big. I have to make it really big. Is the pattern. Oh wait, which setup are we looking at?
And for those of you who would like to know a little bit more about occasion.
Oh, now that I'm looking at it in retrospect, it doesn't show me the value of the enum. That's funny. Wait, if I look at it though, it would tell me, right? Open a new tab.
From a senior US
Yeah, it tells me there.
Agreement on common framework is important.
So the difference between all of those are just the different candlesticks.
India and Turkey into coordinated debt restructuring process.
So, which at first glance is like, hey, not bad. But then when you really look at it, it's like actually you can't really get anything over a 1.5, and the only reason that you're getting a 1.5 is because it takes so little trades. 193 trades over 2 years. That's not very much, right? Oh, actually, it's 1 year.
Common view of the G20 at this stage. The senior
it's a not everyday signal.
Goes on to say we will be looking at
and what you're going to find is when you change the backtest period, the performance changes.
From a senior US Treasury official.
Anyways, this is what I was doing yesterday.
The implementation in practice, with particular eyes. The US strongly supports common framework, but must significantly strengthen transparency of debt treatments going forward.
Now we'll see what they do here. So they were able to bury them at 04.5. Well, at 05 at least. There was a big iceberg there, but you know, I'm wondering if I come over here and I look at this, will it show me? Yes, it will. Okay, so we started right there. I see what's going on here. So what is happening is we're getting spreading. And so it all came up and it came back down, and the 5-year came back down to where it was, and the 10 and the 30 went lower. So I don't know. Doesn't look good, does it? But the thing is I'll wait until I get out and then they'll go up. So it's a sim order. You can just ignore me because I'm gonna hold it.
Further stimulus will be approved to help a more targeted group of people.
Anthony Monroe, hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the donation. Yeah, so I mean I'm still posting my cryptocurrency notes, and you can see more if you go there to the Patreon, and you won't be able to see the notes until next week. But we're quite overvalued here.
U.S. Treasury official, we must do our best
now.
To avoid unnecessary delays.
The thing about being overvalued is that you know, there's a reason that they're overvalued, and that kind of momentum often has a tendency to continue. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some continued upside from here. But at some point, they're probably going to liquidate for the year, and it's going to be really ugly. So right now, I would probably be looking more at the altcoins, right?
Official, the US
There's probably going to get that rotation trade going again.
Restructuring architecture.
Try something here. Okay. And they took that, no question.
From a senior US Treasury official, says that the lack of transparency in Chinese debt allows China to game the system and avoid full participation.
Let's see here. What else is going on? I see gold is moving up. I see the dollar. The dollar looks like it's under a little bit of pressure. The yen is still rising. So I keep seeing this thing where it's like the treasuries don't follow the yen anymore at all. Oh, thank you again, another donation from Anthony. Thank you, Seth. Yeah. No problem. I don't know. When it gets to this on my indicator, it's like, you know, this is like what, the third time that we've seen it get up there, and I'm like, it's gonna do it. And I'm always like super, I don't know. I should be like the huckster. No, well, not the huckster, but you know, like the guy that's trying to sell it, you know, like if I was the guy that's trying to sell it, I should be like, you know, we've been doing this now 3 times. We've called 3 tops and they all happened. And this time is not going to be any different and yada. But I know that there's always a chance that it's not going to be like that, or that, you know, I might be right, but the timing will be really, really off. So I'm super cautious about how I say it, but I'm thinking before the end of the year that it'll probably come apart. Good morning. More of you coming in here before the E-mini. Well, I tell you what, I mean, even though we're up overnight, I feel like we don't really have a very good direction. Although today might be a day where pivots could be really helpful.
U.S. Treasury official saying that they estimate the estimates.
Oh, look at this, all
lending range from
getting thick here now.
$350 billion to upwards of $1 trillion.
How did that develop? So one of the things that I hate about the Vista chart is that something clearly happened, but you can't like define the amounts. If I could define the amounts, I could probably make it much more clear that like something's come in here. You can see that there appears to be like some support coming in and trying to pick it up. But we'll see. We shall see. You had a few rough days. Well, it was a range bound week, right? It's going to work better when it's a trending. So this is where I was. I'll show you. I'll show you, Ace.
Fed's Bullard says change in tips yields show market faith in Fed hitting inflation target.
This one. Will it let me see?
So just a reminder, the Fed are going for an average inflation of 2% or slightly above.
I think it should. Yes. Okay. So here is my automated version of ACE's strategy. It doesn't take a trade every day. So it's very different from how ACE trades still, because ACE takes multiple trades a day. This doesn't even take one a day, actually. It's way more picky, and it doesn't try and run it. It's going to be interesting. You don't think that it's going to crash? I'd take that bet. I'm on the record. It will crash before the end of the year. There will be a decline of at least 10% or more. Anyways, nope, don't see it at all. I think it's total nonsense. So you see this, it's, it doesn't work perfectly all the time. This is going back a few years. So do you see how in the summer of 2018, it kind of didn't do so well, and then when the volatility kind of started picking up around December, then it started doing well? Do you see that? So what does that tell us? That tells us that if we are about to go back into another low volatility regime where the VIX is low and the movement in the index is less,
with coronavirus,
this strategy may not work as well. That's what it's suggesting to me. Would you say a 68% win rate for the week out of 50 trades is an anomaly? That's an easy call when it moves 10 to 20% a week. Okay, well, how far would it be a move? I mean, it'll be the most significant decline of the year. It would probably be a decline below 10,000. Well below 10,000. It would be a crash. The headlines you will be reading is a crash, a bubble pop. They might make a new all-time high, I don't know. But there's seasonality to it and everything.
And it is the end.
Yeah, there's going to be a significant decline. Okay, interesting that the treasuries popped back up there. And the E-mini, well, so far, bullish. Not a significant change in cumulative delta, though. It doesn't look to me like it did that just slipping through, so I'm not sure about that one. Anyways, a 68% win rate for the week. It really depends on what your R is, what your average winner to your average loser is. If your average winner and your average loser are equal, and you're hitting somewhere around 70%, that's where you want to get to. Below the end of the year, yeah. See, I think that before the end of the year, we'll see below 10K. Sure. But I mean, to be more specific about the particular setup, I'll show you. I guess it doesn't matter because we're on a top, not a bottom, but. So here you can see we're at historically overbought levels. Anywhere above 20K, anything above there, you know, you've got to be thinking there's going to be another crash. And it'll be a crash similar to these. So, like I said, I think that they tend to go through here, right? I think you tend to go through here. No, I'm not going to take one of your stupid bets, Gary. If I win, I get to yell at you for a 10-minute rant at Gary. If you want to yell at me for a 10-minute rant, you can pop on Discord and you could do it right now if you would like. Dead serious. You can come on and roast me. We can do it at the end of the stream. Anyways, that's what I'm seeing. So I think that usually you're going to see them push up a little bit, and then yeah, we should expect a crash. That's why I'm saying it. So I'm not just
China finds
making some random feel thing. I have a model that has a pretty successful historical record, right? So we'll see what it does. Maybe, and that's where it's like, maybe I'm wrong on the timing. Usually there's a drop before the end of the year, before Christmas, but let's see what it does. Okay, well, I'm kind of letting the E-mini do its thing here. Can see some strength for the E-mini compared to the NASDAQ. Yeah.
Gary Rich says, does your model have a volatility factor worked in BTC?
Volatility factor. Not necessarily. So now I have to think about it, like how we could incorporate that sort of a thing. I don't think that would be pertinent. Like, I think that the volatility and the momentum is something that is like, you look at the model and you see what the model says, and then you're actually looking to trade it. And that's a little bit different from what the model says, right? Because the model is only trying to value Bitcoin based on fundamentals. So the model is saying that Bitcoin has outstripped the fundamentals significantly, right? And why has that happened? It's very clear that because Bitcoin hasn't increased the block size, they can't take on more transactions, and that's why they're not able to build up more intrinsic value this time around. The amount of network traffic is less than last time around.
Vlad Stolyarov says TSLA down BC. Elon Musk twits too much that he might have virus or maybe not.
It's less
Vlad
than
Stolyarov
last time
says
around.
He's not sure.
But there's less supply, and that's essentially where you're getting where it is. So then you have to look at, like, you're right, like the volatility and momentum.
Gary Rich says, oh, Gary Rich with the big brain analysis.
That's where it's like, probably they're going to try and continue, because it's clearly manipulated in some form or another. They're going to want a new all-time high. They're probably going to hold out for it. And I wouldn't doubt that they could do it, although I can't predict that, because you're trying to predict the actions of like one person or a small group of people. I can't do that. But once they get it and they take their profits, so what I would be looking for is like a retail rush, right? A rush of people jumping into it, and then another rush beyond that, and then I would be looking to get out of it. Okay, so here we're getting a good little up move. And I'm thinking I'm gonna sell it. Delta's in my favor, but there's a lot of volume trading in this area. Caitlin Collins, we haven't heard from President Trump in person in over a week, and he hasn't taken questions from reporters since the day of the election. It is highly unusual for him to stay away from cameras for this long. He's probably really focused on the trying to, well, maybe not. Maybe he's just in the I lost mode and is not really doing anything. He was golfing the other day, wasn't he?
IMF chief Gorgieva, remarking to other G20 officials, says that the G20 common framework is a very important step towards improving international debt architecture.
Gary Rich says at Seth you might want to download the data for BTC. Also factor the funds like GBTC, which take 3% of supply out of the system, which essentially holds a bid to BTC.
That's factored. So I take data from a number of sources online and cache it essentially. And I have I don't want to say sophisticated, but there's a fairly complicated set of filters to filter out the data, because there's a lot of issues like that. Come on, haven't we talked about the Bitcoin model before? But the supply of Bitcoin that is out there is a factor in the model.
IMF's managing director Gorgieva says that there are other countries besides the world's poorest that could face unsustainable debts.
Vlad Stolyarov says yeah.
IMF's managing director Gorgieva says we are not out of the woods yet. This crisis is not over.
Block sell.
Vlad Stolyarov says NQ trying to break out.
Yeah.
Vlad Stolyarov says 11,920 resistance
this.
early one.
That was okay, but it didn't quite go the way we wanted. We are kind of against the trend with that one. And we've been in it so long that they've developed more room, so I think... Now, should I just buy it here? The issue is that the potential
Vlad Stolyarov says there
upside
was so
isn't
much
very
negative
high.
tick yesterday
Fresh
it's surprising
financing
sellers
is
aren't
needed.
here yet. Vlad Stolyarov says maybe they all left on vacation.
I don't think there are any sellers. I think that the selling, like the move down, is like more profit taking than outright selling. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like that there's any real bears left. What was it? Jim Cramer in the morning was saying there's just too many bulls out there, and that sounds about right to me. Everybody went long at the beginning of the week, and nobody's questioning it anymore. Judge dismisses Trump's libel lawsuit against CNN. I wonder which one that was. Let me try this again.
Vlad Stolyarov says AAPL not moving markets 119.
IMF's managing director Gorgieva says the IMF will support the implementation of G20 debt framework through fund-supported programs and fresh financing. We will make sure countries can service restructured debt.
Vlad Stolyarov says NEO 53.66 high.
I feel like the market is reacting to me again. I put my bid out and I flip and they immediately decide to sell into me.
New York City's 7-day average COVID positivity climbs to 2.83% from 2.68%.
It looks like that the treasuries are a little bit under pressure from the bullishness of the E-mini. And that big old, look at that 56 at 04 half and everything.
A New York City 7-day positivity of 3% would trigger a school shutdown.
Vlad Stolyarov says VIX minus 5.48%.
Well, it can get up there, but it's not
Vlad
acting all that
Stolyarov says,
excited
"Okay, no
about it.
fun."
We summoned the China's ambassador to UK, Xia Ming, to make clear that the latest measures imposed by Beijing breach both Hong Kong's high decree of autonomy and their right to freedom of speech guaranteed.
There it was ticking into new highs, and it was pretty nonchalant about it. They're like right on the line here. Like there's probably some stops in here somewhere. There it is.
Vlad Stolyarov says, "I would just get out 64. Vlad Stolyarov says Momo is dead.
It looks like we're still getting some of this rotational stuff, because I can see the ES being strong here relative to the NASDAQ on that move. Yeah. Well, I think that
Vlad Stolyarov says NQ failure so far. Vlad Stolyarov says 11,890 test.
Look at that treasury. Yeah, it is reacting.
Vlad Stolyarov says it's TSLA fault.
It's Tesla's fault. There's probably a lot of gamma burdening us.
At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the University of Michigan Sentiment Prelim, forecast 82.
Oh, we do have numbers in 10 minutes.
81.8.
Forgot about that.
85.0. Lowest estimated figure 77.0. University of Michigan 1 year inflation prelim, previous 2.6%, 2.6%, and also Bank of England's 10 Rayo is speaking.
You see him getting moves is just, it's not going far enough. Mm. It looks pretty directionless at the moment. A bit of volume there in the middle, but maybe a slight up bias. Okay. No way. Goldman Sachs is said to be in talks with TT to buy trading technologies. You've got to be shitting me. That's crazy. That is big wow. Man. I mean, I really like the TT platform. I don't like it as much as the Jigsaw DOM, but what is that? So trading technologies is considered the top of the line, basically trading software in the future space. So the Jigsaw DOM is definitely the most fully featured DOM. But when you go over to trading technologies, they've got a lot of features for creating your own synthetic order types and auto spreader and a lot of really sophisticated things if you pay for it. But it's expensive. That's the thing. So most retail traders aren't really doing it, but it really is like the professional standard trading technology. And you can use trading technology data on Jigsaw, because the Jigsaw DOM is a little bit better than theirs. Yeah, I just like the lack of customization, says Lando. But the basic gist of that is that Goldman Sachs wants to be involved in the retail trading space. That's really critical to us.
At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the University of Michigan Sentiment Prelim.
Come back up there.
82.0, previous 81.8. University of Michigan 1-year inflation prelim, previous 2.6%. And also Bank of England's 10 Rayo is speaking.
Well, I kind of forgot what I was doing there, man. So let's just scratch it and try again. TT has been looking for a buyer for a few years now. GS might just be the bidder of last resort. Really? I mean, I don't think that that's particularly important. Like I said, the thing that's important is that Goldman Sachs wants to be involved in futures trading, retail futures trading. I mean, I suppose that it might make you want to get involved in the TT platform, but I like the TT platform. I'm just not willing to pay that much a month for it. That's all. But something like 120 for the features that are really worthwhile. Yeah, this is tight. They're just bouncing back and forth between buyer's cost basis and seller's break even. Why does GS want to be involved? Because Goldman Sachs, okay, so how far back do I have to go to explain this? Goldman Sachs is not a large bank. Goldman Sachs was always known for being incredibly small and beating all of the other guys despite their size. When the 2008 financial crisis happened, they pulled it off again. Because of their highly sophisticated technology, they understood the risk that was out there and hedged themselves before anybody else could. And when that happens, that made them systemically important. And so the regulators required them to increase in size and become a bank holding company, essentially. And so Goldman Sachs pursued a strategy under Lloyd Blankfein where they really increased their involvement in fixed income trading, particularly in emerging markets and so forth. And the end result of that was that it didn't really pan out, especially going into like the 2018 time period, because then the interest rates stopped rising. The Federal Reserve had that policy screw up. I don't know, big old 4K they're spoofing at 04.
University of Michigan sentiment prelim first.
And so they that all kind of blew up in their face. And that was when Lloyd Blankfein left, and they started to pursue becoming more of a retail bank. So they created the Neiman Marcus segment. They got that Apple credit card thing going, and they want to do banking services for retail traders. Well, Goldman Sachs' thing, again, was trading, particularly equities trading. So for Goldman to be coming in and snatching up the top of the line futures trading software indicates that their foray into the consumer trading space is going to continue.
That's lower than the forecast of 82.0. We're still currently waiting for the University of Michigan 1-year inflation prelim.
I shouldn't have done that. You called your first trade to the tick and then you bail it? No, I don't think so. 56.60. It only gave me 8 ticks.
University of Michigan 1-year inflation prelim, 2.8%, 2.8%.
So where it might become important for us is, Goldman Sachs comes in, they decide to become a retail broker. They're competing with Robinhood. Really, they'd be more competing with TD Ameritrade. And they have all of the factors that we use for futures trading. That means more people trading futures. So that's important. No, the first one it was.
So the University
Here.
of Michigan sentiment prelim is
Here's all of the
estimated figure of 77.
Here's all of the MES ones. See, I had some that went 8 ticks in my favor, but not anywhere close to what I wanted.
So also the surprise on that University sentiment, Michigan sentiment prelim was -5.00.
So the Michigan numbers are the inflation expectations is a little higher than expected. 5-year inflation expectations are a little higher than expected. But all of the other numbers were bad on the Michigan number. Big Miss says Centelli adding that the estimate was 82.
Fed's Harker is
We got 77.
as expected, and about the strengthening economic resiliency and investing in the American workers before a Bloomberg live virtual briefing.
Some large orders getting involved here. Treasury appears to be bidding back up.
And we have just posted the University of Michigan Sentiment Prelim full report on the Finance Juice feed if you'd like to have a read.
Yeah. See, when I get in, I want to see evidence of people getting in after me, right? Right now, there's more buying than selling. I kind of FOMO'd into that, so I guess that shouldn't surprise us. It sure is fighting. Volume is equal now. If not slightly bearish. Yeah. Reset it to track that a little better. Seems like buyer is defending. Treasury ticking up still. I still want to be short because of the Michigan sentiment numbers, though. Like, we're getting like all these new COVID cases, and we know that that's going to get out of control, and the sentiment numbers are already soft. I think that's concerning. Oh, Patrick Rooney, what a time to not be tweeting. Now, of course, if the rumor is true, of course he wouldn't be able to say anything about it. But okay, so a little bit. There's the buyer defending his area, right? Taking all that. Well, this guy looks pretty resilient, man. Yeah, that's not good at all.
Fed's Bullard says the current pace of asset purchases has been effective and policy is in a very good place. Investment will pick up substantially as the vaccine nears and the probability rises that the pandemic will end. So probability rises that the pandemic will end. Also, just a reminder, in regards to the vaccine that Bullard is talking about, that's Pfizer. Pfizer's vaccine, ticker PFE, and BioNTech, ticker BNTX. Bullard goes on to say that a decentralized use response is more flexible than national edicts, and it will be adequate to contain the virus. Even if the Fed emergency programs are shut down at the end of the year, markets will know that they can be reopened and trust the Fed's willingness to act as a backstop. Financial stability is not a key concern in the midst of the pandemic. And we are not thinking about raising interest rates still. There is still a long climb for the economy. So they're not thinking about raising interest rates, and there's still a long climb for the economy. Don't forget, this is coming from Fed's Bullard.
No, that's definitely not the way it should go. No, that baby has been crying a lot. This one looks a little more positive. One more tick, please. Cool. Now there's some big orders down here. The 8 through 1. There's another one there. Okay, and there they took that one too. There's still some size. Actually, size all the way down to 55. Okay. Now back to the open. Are they just going to sweep right through that? Oh, a little bit of reluctance there at the open, in fact. Okay.
Fed's Harker says we had a strong economy before the pandemic struck.
They went right to the ATR stop, but they didn't close below it. Some covering there, actually.
Fed's Harker says the pandemic has exacerbated trends in the economy, including inequality and automation. Goes on to say that the economy is not just going to snap right back to where it was.
Oh, look at that.
Fed's Harker says the pandemic has
I mean, I knew and I was sitting there, but I only had one opportunity to get it out, and I really didn't think they would come all the way back up. This is one of those days.
Exacerbated trends in the economy, including...
Is ZF worth watching these days, not trading it? I just mean having it up and paying attention to what it's doing. Yeah, I think so. There's been a lot of... that front month is like more important now because the rates are like practically zero and are going to be zero for forever. So like, I don't know. It seems like that front
to retain workers for better jobs.
Side is really important. And I'm these days I've been seeing a lot of icebergs and big orders and stuff in there. So there's definitely stuff going on. Not so sure that I completely understand everything that's going on over there, but I'm just pulling a point out here and there. It's silly. Yeah, I should have I could have taken 2 points out a bunch of times and I would probably be ahead, but I was looking for 16. This one, I'm kind of thinking that they're going to come down to, I think that there could be a bigger drop off here, because when you look at the buy so far, it looks like everybody went in and it's incredibly weak, and the volume is all sell. Like all that volume, everybody that bought probably flipped. So that's where I'm thinking, if we can get hold below the open, that they'll probably go and try and test that other side below 52. And then you got all the way down to 44 if they decide to go for that one. But you can see there's like a buyer is defending there. You can see this volume in this area around here. Okay, market makers slipped there.
CBS White House correspondent Reid tweets, top NIH official Dr. Fauci tells me he will be participating in an Operation Warp Speed briefing today with President Trump. Just remember, Operation Warp Speed is a public-private partnership initiated by the Trump administration to facilitate and accelerate the development, manufacturing, and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostics.
Okay, so here's the open again. Much more willing to trade through that, but it's still bouncing a bit around it. So Okay. Huh. Okay. And that's not the regular session low yet. Still not there. There's probably more. There's probably more. Yeah. Okay. So a few stops there. Nothing crazy. We're going to get filled in the 10-year here finally. I was like, nope, Seth, now that you care, we're not going to fill you at 06.5. Do you ever trade ZF or ZB? Nah, you know, I mean, maybe I should. I've been thinking about trying the spreads again a little bit lately, but I don't know. I still feel that the treasuries have been incredibly hard for me to read lately. The fundamentals, the things that are moving them, I'm not as much in the know. And so
30 a.m. Eastern Time.
that makes it really hard to trade.
Gas change BCF forecast minus 3 billion, previous minus 36.
Dr. Fauci opposes nationwide lockdown. That's not what Biden's advisor says. So now is it going to be Fauci versus this new Biden's guy that nobody trusts? Could Fauci end up being our savior in the end? Oh, wouldn't that be ironic? Oh, man. Tesla's at 403. Hey, that's a pretty good drop there. Like $40 on the week. Total convergence in consumer expectations broken down by political party as GOP sentiment tumbles and Dem surges. Yes. But they're both basically coming into they're converging. They're not diverging. That's interesting. Okay. Feels kind of quiet now. It's a decent amount of volume trading at 53. Still not getting filled in the 10-year yet. Martingale into longs. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more potential in the short, but you know, that last sell that took us to the lows, right? They broke a new low, but they were already a little overextended in price. So I'm not surprised to see them bounce back up. The question is, can they actually get people to buy in now? Because they really bailed, you know?
World Bank chief economist Reinhardt says the G20 governments could adopt legislation to facilitate more expedient and balanced debt restructuring process. Fed Harker says if we want the economy we all think we deserve, we have to solve this problem of bringing people into the middle class. At 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have the US EIA natural gas change BCF forecast minus 3 billion, previous minus 36 billion.
So you can see the volume trading there. It looks like some market makers pulling there a little bit at 54.
Fed Harker says getting more women
Here in the 10-year, I think that these guys at 06.5 and that are with me at 06.5 want the fills. So I don't think that one's just going to pull. That might be why it's having trouble. They might need another sell in the mini to really come up measurably.
World Bank chief economist Reinhardt urges all G20 countries to require public creditor institutions to disclose debt contracts and any G20 debt freeze agreements and make refinancing agreements public.
Market here says when Tesla is boring. It's a little bit of a bubble up there. Darn. Wow.
World Bank chief
So let them come back up to buyer cost basis and see what it does.
framework open for future enhancements.
I still feel like that there's better potential in the downside, but let's see what he does. So this is going to be right here. Treasury feels like it's really overreacting to moves in the E-mini. 43 at 59. This is kind of the counter trend period too. Well, the way that it's turning out looks really bullish, huh?
10 seconds. $8 billion, $8 billion. That's a build on the forecast of minus $3 billion.
Okay, so that was a natural gas stocks change. So I do see some longs adding here, but I also see some sells. So that suggests to me that the buyer
Bank Chief Economist Reinhardt says we need to avoid protracted debt restructuring process that
is
Block sell.
scratching.
debt crisis.
Now the Treasury doesn't seem to be in line with that. The Treasury still looks under pressure. Well, it sure looks like a sell. It's so tight, I don't know if I can make a huge conclusion off of that. Where to get out of that last one? 57? Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't look like people want to hold on positions. So they're both getting out. I guess shorts are increasing a little bit. More than 130 Secret Service officers are said to be infected with coronavirus or quarantining in wake of Trump's campaign blitz. And not surprised. Okay. I'm starting to wonder if I should not just be looking for 10 on all of these.
Fedtarka says the economy will not grow unless we bring people up from lower skilled jobs into the middle class.
Because if I was only looking for 8, then today was amazing. So I did kind of predict that bounce pretty well, didn't I? Notice, though, that came back fairly easily. Well, I think I need to change my strategies here. Feeling kind of chill, but it's kind of fighting back here. I'm surprised this is only 838. And that didn't work out. Now I think I can go short though. Although, hold on. I don't want that spot. want more like this. No, I guess not. Ooh, come on. So close. Wouldn't be surprised if it does it, it's just gonna be like a big sweep whoosh. Because they don't, especially over in the micros, they're not holding a lot of size. There does appear to be a significant amount of trade going on here. Oh, almost. So tight still. I'm not sure if that's indicative of something that's about to just really fall apart, you know? Okay. Avalanche inbound. This looks like neither side is really willing to give up nor commit. This eye is kind of... Looks like that's not working out for us. Go flat here. European COVID cases have peaked again, says Zero Hedge. What is the deal here with me and treasuries lately, guys? Why do I keep getting it so wrong over there? You see that drop in the 5-year just like out of nowhere. The thing that's so frustrating is that they were up there at 6.5 and they didn't fill it. I get it, yeah. I mean, the way the treasury is coming down there like that, does that mean they're bullish? Or they're risk on? I don't know, man. The E-mini, on the other hand, is pretty rangy, and it makes complete sense to me why it would be rangy. Right? Where could the treasuries go to on the downside? I don't know if they can actually even extend lower or not. And his profile is so disorganized. Tough call. Well, a lot of people went short off of that. If the buyers decide to go up and make a new high and everything, I bet you they could probably extend quite a bit further this time. I wish, though, that I had been able to see when they were going to be coming up and just taking my $40 profit on the one and then just be done, huh? It was a really weird reversal time period too, by the way. Treasury's fallen again. Just kind of slipping. That O3, and there's an iceberg on it and everything. Well, probably a market maker trying to balance himself out there. And then the treasury ticks down again easily into 0.2 even though the E-mini is just kind of chugging nowhere. And you're still getting quite a bit of steepening in it as well. And I mean, like, quite a bit of steepening in it. Particularly on the 2, 5, and 10 areas of the curve. Well, I tried. I'm gonna just revenge trade out of frustration now here. Should be fun. Here you go, new low. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah. I had a pretty good handle on what it was doing at first, but it's starting to become more and more dicey. Cool. Look at that. Ugh. Sometimes my position window doesn't work correctly.
We will shortly be receiving comments from Bank of England's Governor Bailey.
So part of the reason I'm frustrated with myself right now is that I wanted to stick to one contract, and then I had that one where I was chasing and I end up short a bunch of contracts when I shouldn't have been, and then that went out. So that thing kind of like canceled it out. Now I want to go back to one contract. Maybe I'll give myself 2. The way that it just like completely collapsed there, though, was something else, right? Pretty strong bull candle coming back out of that thing, man. Well, this sure is something else, isn't it? Donald Trump tweeting, for years the Dems have been preaching how unsafe and rigged our elections have been. Now they are saying what a wonderful job the Trump administration did in making 2020 the most secure election ever. Actually, this is true except for what the Democrats did, rigged the election. Okay. Ugh.
The UK records 27,301 new coronavirus cases today versus 33,470 yesterday.
Hearing UK coronavirus numbers coming over the wire at the moment.
Coronavirus-related deaths on Friday versus 563.
Maybe some robots trading that. Treasury's having difficulty with O3 half. Well, it is Friday. The thing that I'm thinking, though, is that, like, there's good movement. You know what I mean? It's just incredibly tight is the problem. The ES looks like a square root. I don't know where you're getting that, but oh, from the 10 on that's like a more like a 30-minute chart. Yeah, I guess so. So I'm thinking, let's open up a footprint chart. A 60-minute interval. Oh, it's still loading here. So a lot of order imbalances down in here, a lot of sell orders hitting into it. Yeah, I did see that. That bid and the 10 years is a little stronger now.
House Rep Speaker Pelosi is currently holding a press conference. If you would like to watch that video, you can do so by clicking the link.
Pelosi having a press conference. I don't know if I want to do that one again. They did not. They wasted my time yesterday. Yeah. I'm sure if she says anything important that they will tweet about it. And you know, through all of this stuff, the dollar has just been mixed.
Italy reports 40,902 new coronavirus cases versus 37,978 yesterday.
Now Italian new cases. Do my robots ever take any? I don't ever remember seeing any over here. Oh, I guess not. I guess they're both fairly infrequent, though. Compare assets. Glasses to its relative strength in year versus NASDAQ.
I'm optimistic Congress can pass
Well,
the COVID-19 relief bill and an omnibus.
The thing that I'm finding really confusing with the Treasury right now is that when I'm looking at relative strength, not numerically, of course, but just comparing where the Treasury is moving to the E-mini, for instance, and the correlations seem kind of off. So it's just kind of like, okay, E-mini all over the place. Really range bound, really coiled up. A little bit of a downside bias, but apparently not too many positions out there to really make the downside anything too catastrophic at the moment. And then I come over and I look at the Treasury, and it seems to me like the move that we've had in the Treasuries today was really significant. And like, why is the Treasury moving the way that it is? That's what I don't get. It's not like the liquidity is lighter or there's some strange imbalance in the liquidity. It goes for no reason. There's a force out there that I can't see. And it doesn't line up with I see a little bit of, bullish bearishness based on whether the E-mini is moving up or down. Like when we were going down to that low the first time, the Treasury's definitely bid up, but then since then it's kind of been really bizarre, right? We've had periods where the Treasuries were pushing down on the lows of the days when the equities were on its lows and vice versa. Yeah, what I look for in the T-notes is positioning for a later move. Well, it looks to me like they're still slightly positioned sell. But they're like right on the edge of coming back into even. That's apparently not happening. But when I see all of that, I'm just convinced that there is a market force, a set of buyers, some piece of news, influence, whatever it is, whether it's that they need to hedge against something or whatever the deal is, that I'm just not aware of. Well, okay. You want me to put them up next to each other and I'll show you. Sure. I'll put them literally on top of each other. Oh, I hate that. You have to like edit first and then go back and go into it. Oh, it's going higher there. It could be bad. Man, that when you look at that one on the 1 minute chart, it really is like super tight. Okay. Oops. Wrong button. We'll try and do this the most quantitative way that we have. Okay. And they also have a correlation. Wait, is that? My correlation indicator? Hold on. Because I swear that Ninja Trader had one. Yeah, I think that's their correlation. I guess their correlation just doesn't have a better way of handling with the instrument. Okay. So now let's shorten it down to only what we've been trading today, right? So that's where it's like, okay, this one. Oops, can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. Okay. Yellow. All right. This one, good. This one, what the fuck? This one, I guess this one kind of makes sense. If the E-mini is going higher, then the treasury should go lower. These are just 1 minute bars. And then there's this over here. Okay. Like this one and this one. Are they really... you know, I think that the treasury was just doing its thing. So then you got to wonder, okay, why? Why? You know, we got to change this data series so that it looks reasonable here. 1 and 1. There. Okay. What's with this? Was it because the E-mini was bullish? No. The correlation is basically random. So it's got to be coming from somewhere else, right? Okay, so here's the next one. We can come in here. Indicators. Dollar index. And then correlation between this and and the dollar index. Oh, we'll do it between synthetic dollar index and this will be ES12, or sorry, ZN 1220. Okay. Okay. So, is it correlated with a dollar? It's kind of flipping here as well. Here it was inversely correlated, and here they're positively correlated, and then they're inversely correlated again. So there's no consistency, right? If they were perfectly in correlation, then you would just, or inversely correlated or whatever, you would see them just be opposites of each other all the time, right? Use a trade. What would be a trade weighted dollar, Gary? I don't even understand what that means. Is there a way that I can derive a trade weighted dollar from the dollar index? The trade weighted US dollar index? Oh, yeah. Is that something where the weightings of them constantly changes? That's usually 30-year versus ES. Well, that's where I'm saying, like, it doesn't look to me like that. Like here's the thing. So we come in, and the Federal Reserve says that we're going to be really, really easy money, and we're going to do yield curve control. Yield curve control. That's good for equities. That's good for equities. So we should see the equities, let me back up. That's good for treasuries. That means that they're going to buy 30 years. So you would want to buy the 30-year. That's also good for equities because that means the interest rates will remain lower. And so that's bullish for them overall. And so in that situation, I would expect them to both go up, and I would expect to see a pretty high degree of positive correlation between them. Right? Okay. Now they come out and we find out that there was an auction and there wasn't a whole lot of demand for the treasuries. So the treasuries go down because there wasn't a whole lot of demand. Now, is that necessarily going to affect the E-mini? Well,
on election related.
I've seen times when it has, but generally speaking, the auctions don't really affect the ES all that much. And maybe the ES is going off of something completely different. Like maybe we're just too far and they're trying to do a gap fill, and so they're slightly down on the day in the E-mini, right? So what does that mean? Yeah, they're correlated instruments, but because the things that are affecting them are completely different, you don't see any correlation between them. And so what I'm saying, what the data seems to indicate to me at the moment is no real correlation between anything, and that it seems to be something pushing the treasuries down today, and there was something pushing treasuries up yesterday, but I'm not aware of what those forces or reasons are. I bet you there is a reason. Whether we can discover the reason or not is another question. And would it be worth it to us to discover the reason or not? I don't know. Dollar index and ES is not a good correlation? Nah, I don't think so either. I'm more interested in the dollar index for treasuries. Although there have been periods where they're pretty in line. Now, in the E-mini, The E-mini, I'm not as... Whoa. What the what? Nothing just happened. That's weird. Was that the biggest bar of the day? Yes. What the fuck was that? No news, nothing. I hear nothing. There's nothing on Twitter. That was pretty wild, right? But I wasn't able to, it came back up before it even came close to me where I want to click it. And look, they're right back to where they were. Is that like a let's sell it to trick everybody into selling into us so that we can finally take it up sort of a thing? Oh, that's super shenanigansy, right? I don't know. The way that came through, though, was so quick. Like, I have to go back and watch the video. Can we? We can go back and watch the video, can't we?
If you're interested in reading the...
Time for instant replay!
You can do so by clicking the link that we have just provided for you on the phone.
Oh, look, there's that trading features. Let's go and back and look at what we're talking about. We're going to mute me because we don't want to hear me whining about whatever I was whining about when that happened. Okay. And it happened at exactly 9:26. Okay, so we gotta go a little bit further. A little bit further. A little bit further. Oh, almost there. Okay, so here I am, I'm whining. Do we see anything over here? So there is a decent amount of volume trading there. Treasury's pretty low, and then look at that. And we can go back frame by frame. Was that it? I thought maybe there was a little bit more. Okay. Huh. Okay. So they cross there. There's a low volume node there. Okay, so about 500 contracts just hit there all of a sudden. So much that I see it go through before I see the level 2 change. And I see the orders come through to there. They filled all of those guys basically. Okay. Wait. 225 there. Okay, now some people pulling. And they absorb it down in there. And then it comes right back up. I don't know, man. Okay, so the CFTC reporting is another source to see where people are positioned on a big picture view. Yeah, so let's talk about the CFTC report. I feel like that the CFTC report is useless, to be honest with you. Well, so here's the thing, is like, we'll get like a report today. Actually, we should be getting it. Well, no, we'll be getting it around the close today. All right. But what does it tell you? It tells you where people were positioned last Friday, not today. It's a week behind. So it's like, I'll always read it and it'll be like, people are net short, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, no, duh. Yeah, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, yeah. They were probably all short. So it's a good thing to see if you were in line with, aware of where it's going. But the CFTC, by the time you get the number, it should be telling you something that you already know. I guess all the people who apply it are just dumb. Yeah. Well, do you know somebody that does numbers on that data from a week ago and then makes money off of it? I don't completely see it, dude. By the time the number comes out, you should have already had a pretty good idea of what people's positions were a week ago. And it's been a week. Like, it could have completely changed. I know that it seems like it would be really useful, but you just got to remember, you're looking at something that is 7 days old. I'm not saying you shouldn't even look at it. I'm just saying that what you should be doing is you should be saying, okay, today I think that people are net long the S&P 500. And then next Friday, when the commitment of traders reports comes out, I should see that they are net long, and that, the non-commercials will be in particular be long. And then I would go, yep, I was right. And if I don't, then I'll have to go back and say, okay, what was it about last Friday that I didn't understand it correctly? And that's how I would be using it. I don't have all of the answers, but I think we're all pretty retarded, dude. I mean, here's the thing. The S&P 500 just dropped 5 points in a matter of seconds for no reason, and then came back up. There was no news. There was no unusual order flow before it happened. Literally no way to predict that it was going to happen or understand why it happened or know anything about it. What does that tell you? That, as we've always maintained, our ability to actually predict prices extremely limited. Okay, yeah, look at the percentage changes, net long or short positioning. It's just options tell the upside or downside from a position. Yeah. Well, I guess one thing is that, you can look at the commitment of traders reports and you can determine things like, they are more long than they have ever been. And that sort of stuff is definitely useful, right? Well, after having recovered that and kind of dancing around it, they have come back to the almost to the bottom. The bottom was 54. Let's clear this down so we can see. I knew a trader who followed the CFTC and told me he would do the opposite. He's currently living in his van. I've been seeing some guys, and I don't know where they get this information from, but they were doing this, looking at this stuff, comparing like how long retail traders were or short retail traders were. And particularly when all of the retail traders went short, it was, yeah, it would do the exact opposite. When Friday is choppy and slow, best time to finish day is like the last half hour. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that, oh no, it's already still defending that area. That's so annoying. Well, you're definitely correct on the, when it's Friday, you don't want to be taking on a ton of risk. That's why, again, when I made the mistake earlier, I was like really pissed about it. Like, I don't know why I thought that that was okay. That one was a self-control. I shouldn't have been clicking everywhere and chasing. I wish that I had a way to say, if I click here and then I click again, it will only let me have max one contract. And so instead of adding another contract, it will just automatically cancel that one and put another one there. Auto cancel. Something like that, you know? Or I just need to make a button. I need to use my shortcut keys.
TikTok is granted a 15-day.
I do have shortcut keys, don't I? Right? Control space, cancel button. Yeah. Okay, that's what I need to do. Okay, well, it's time for me to go. So, with that, I didn't say not a PS5 giveaway. No, that's okay. The random 5-handle suit down is what I'm going to call it. I'm a little salty about it just because I didn't really take advantage of it. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I should hold on. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Still got a lot of things to figure out.